Lifetime's intimate portrait. She's an award-winning actress and star of the acclaimed series Once and Again. But raven-haired beauty Sela Ward has also been ostracized because of her looks.
Those rejections for me were very powerful, very painful, and were like little mini deaths.
Sela suffered through a decade's worth of ice princess roles in films that failed.
All these films were supposed to be really big box office hits, you know, touted by the executives at all the studios. But none of them were.
Then she stripped away the glamour to land her breakthrough role in the TV series Sisters.
I turned 30, cut my hair off, sort of tomboyish, and I'm convinced it's one of the things that helped me get the part.
Sela just absolutely reinvented herself, which I think she has done throughout her career.
Her performance led to her first Emmy.
I'm speechless, that's for sure.
And to choice film and television parts. But when she hit 40, her looks became an issue in a different way.
For a woman of 40 to, feel that it's over in terms of decent roles is pretty awful comment on our society.
Happily, it's all come together for Sela. Now both her beauty and talent are clearly on view.
I think she's a little bit of a genius. When she's acting, you just see everything pass through her face. You never don't want to watch her.
Now, from homecoming queen to Hollywood dream, this is Lifetime's intimate portrait of Sela Ward. Lifetime's intimate portrait, hosted by Meredith Vieira.
I'm Meredith Vieira, and this is an intimate portrait of Sela Ward. In the hit series Once and Again, she's the lucky lady who stars opposite heartthrob Billy Campbell. But though this Southern Belle's career got off to a slow start, Sela kept at it, and her patience has been rewarded. And for those of you who worry about aging, take heart. In an era of teenage starlets, Sela's led the charge to redefine what Hollywood calls sexy in a woman. Come watch how this wife, mom, and late bloomer got to the front of the pack. Sela Ward.
At the age of 44, actress Sela Ward is at the top of her game. Her famous face graces magazine covers and television commercials, and she's never looked more gorgeous.
Sela has an incredible body of work, and she just seems to get better and better. And more beautiful, which is just so unfair.
For Sela, beauty has been a double-edged sword, creating opportunities yet also holding her back.
Sela is cursed with being beautiful. And when you're that beautiful, they can't believe you could possibly be funny or really even act.
All her life, Sela has been fighting to prove she was more than just a pretty face.
I was just stubborn as a mule. I was going to prove them all wrong because I knew the core that I could do this.
After 2 decades in the spotlight, Sela's shown us all she's won this fight.
And look at her now. I mean, there's nothing that Sela can't do.
Sela's story begins in the lush, fertile lands of eastern Mississippi. She was born in Meridian, a languid town of 50,000 people, on July 11, 1956. Her father is a stubbornly independent man who taught his children to stick to their guns.
My dad had his own electrical engineering firm. He had a sign in his office that said, "Be reasonable, do it my way." The thing I love about him is he doesn't care what anybody thinks, and we women have this disease. It really mattered what everybody thought, particularly in the South.
For Sela's mother, Annie Kate Ward, gentility is important, but so is perseverance, a trait she passed on to Sela.
She's just the epitome of a Southern belle. Very strong, strong values and a tremendous amount of class. She looked in her younger days just like Ava Gardner. I mean, extraordinarily beautiful.
The Wards had 4 children.
Sela's the oldest child, and my other sister, Jenna, is about 1.5 years younger than her.
Then there's Barry and Brock. So there's 2 girls, 2 boys. Don't know how my mother did 4 children in 5-6 years, but she managed to have all of us a year to 1.5 years apart.
My siblings and I, we've all been like extremely close. I mean, we're in each other's blood veins. I mean, it's really a little too much. We're all very, very connected at the hip.
Sela's talents began to appear at an early age.
She was born with a grace of walking. She was just different from the other girls. She also inherited the ability to draw. She was an artist. She only made one oil painting, and then she went to watercolors.
She was a model child. She never really got into trouble, and she always seemed to excel at everything she did. Everything just came naturally to her. She got all the honors you can get in school.
I have to tell you, she was a vision then. I mean, she really was.
In junior high, Sela's beauty and accomplishments started rubbing other girls the wrong way.
I tried out for cheerleader, and I got cheerleader, and I got Art Student of the Month award, and I got the DAR Good Citizenship Award, all like within 1 year, you know, in one time frame. And I remember my best friend of my entire elementary school years, all of a sudden, was no longer my friend.
The other girls were jealous and turned their backs on her. For Sela, the rejection was traumatic.
It was just a sad time for me because there were so many losses for me. And it was always related to something good that had happened.
She lost almost all her girlfriends and became shy and withdrawn. Her voice became a whisper.
I think I sort of talked a little high and soft like this, and I'd probably say, "What are y'all doing? Are you going to go over there?"
In high school, Sela joined a sorority, the Dusties, in an effort to fit in. One tormentor was her sorority sister, Sally Holst.
I was a member, and she was being ratted in Hell Week. That's what they called it, Hell Week. And I made Sela wear a sign that said, "I'm beautiful and I know it." And I did not know that. I mean, I can't believe I did that.
Those rejections for me were very powerful, very painful, and were like little mini deaths. I think that a lot of my discomfiture with women really had to do with that time period of my life, because the girls could be so cruel, and they were.
The resilience Sela learned from these early traumas would come in handy later.
You learn a certain amount of strength that is invaluable later in life. I mean, I certainly couldn't be in the entertainment industry with a tremendous amount of rejection and constant proving of oneself if I wasn't able to take that and flip it into something positive for me in terms of a growth experience.
Things started to change when Sela enrolled at the University of Alabama in 1973. She was a cheerleader for the Crimson Tide, where beauty was an asset.
When Sela attended the University of Alabama, it was the last few years of Bear Bryant's career, and the University of Alabama in the South was like the premier football team. They were nationally ranked almost every year.
Alabama football was like religion. It was bigger than life, and it was very exciting, and it was on a very big scale, and ABC was always televising our national games.
The high school hazings were forgotten when Sela was crowned Alabama's homecoming queen.
George Wallace crowned me. A lot of history there.
Sela's steady date was a college football star, Bob Baumhauer.
We had this sort of storybook little romance in college, and he was wonderful. He went on to play with the Dolphins, and it was just a magical time for me.
In 1977, Sela graduated with a double major in art and advertising and went off to New York planning to go into advertising. She did, but not in the way she expected.
Some friends said to me, "You should model," so I went and met Wilhelmina, and the very first job I did was a Maybelline mascara commercial.
They loved her look and her eyes, so they sent her off to voice classes to be able to do that without having an accent.
From Maybelline. I had this high little southern kind of voice, you know, and I had gone to do a commercial for Ultra Bright toothpaste. And the woman who was there, the producer, said to me, "You know what, honey, you could probably be a really good little actress, but your voice is such a problem." I worked so hard on my voice for years, I can't even tell you.
Modeling led to acting, and it was there that Sela discovered her true love.
I took acting classes to help me with television commercial auditions, and I just fell in love with it. I felt like I was flying, and I ended up getting an agent, did 2 days on a soap opera, and went, you know, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to Los Angeles. So I just packed my bags after 5 years of the modeling thing and moved to LA and checked into the Beverly Hilton Hotel and, okay, I'm here.
Next on Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, Sela falls hard for a co-star and stalls her own career.
If he had to be in Japan, I was in Japan. If he had to be on location in Italy, I went on location in Italy.
Later, Sela reinvents herself and wins a breakthrough role.
We were amazed because we had this vision of Sela Ward in our head. And instead, in bursts Sela in jeans with a little tank top
No
on.
bra.
No bra.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portrait continues.
You're watching Lifetime, television for women.
Nature replenishes herself 4 times a year. We recommend 6. Because the fresher your Brita filter, the cleaner your water.
Pasta? It's a big job. You boil, you drain, you test. Boring. Do I look like a chef?
Brace yourselves for a radical idea. New Ragu Express. An individual serving of pasta ready in just 3.5 minutes. It's real pasta, real sauce, real fast.
What?
There's some big news from Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships. Saturday service hours. Now it's even easier to get the service you need and the convenience you want. Come in for great deals on batteries, shocks, tires, and more. And factory-trained technicians who know your vehicle best. So for the right people, the right parts, and always the right prices, how does Saturday work for you? Quality care on Saturday at participating Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships.
Tommy, you know what mystery meat is? Well, that's what's in these formed and pressed nuggets that you've got here. You could be having KFC popcorn chicken.
KFC's crispy popcorn chicken is back. Get an individual size for only $1.99 or a party size for $6.99.
There's fast food, and then there's KFC.
These babies are not models. They were conceived using the Clear Plan Easy Fertility Monitor. It unmistakably tells you more fertile days each cycle than any leading method, so you have the best chance to get pregnant. Clear Plan, clear results.
The alluring fragrance of wildflowers. Now captured in a bottle of Dawn. Wildflower Medley. Just one of 3 new Fresh Escape scents from Dawn.
Need contact lenses? You could. Get in your car, drive to your eye doctor, wait in line, pay twice as much, wait a week, drive back, pick them up. Or call 1-800-CONTACTS. We deliver. You save.
Lifetime. Television for women.
Wouldn't it be great if a baby's heart problem could be fixed before its first smile? And if more kids' chemotherapy could be shortened? And if more donor organs could be split to save 2 lives instead of 1? And if your kid's doctor was part of a vast network of kids experts? At Children's Memorial Hospital, you'll find more advancements, specialists, experience. Wouldn't it be great if every hospital were like Children's Memorial, where kids come first?
Now at Primeco, you can get an unbelievable number of minutes. 600 anytime minutes plus 2,000 weekend minutes for only $29.99. Primeco's giving you more minutes for less money. What's more, we'll double up your savings. Get an instant $30 rebate plus a $30 mail-in rebate. You save 60 more bucks. 2,600 minutes for only $29.99. It's only at Primeco. Call 1-800-PRIMECO.
At 10 Saturday night on Lifetime's Women Docs. A doctor considers operating on a man with advanced lung cancer. At 78, can he pull through?
It's just very hard to predict.
Women Docs. At 10 Saturday night, only on Lifetime. A pregnant woman lies in a coma. Will an experimental treatment save her life and not harm her unborn baby?
We were looking for a miracle.
On the next Beyond Chance. At 11 Saturday, only on Lifetime.
We now return to Lifetime's intimate portrait of Sela Ward. As a young girl growing up in rural Mississippi, Sela Ward found her dark-eyed beauty was a source of conquest and conflict. It cost her friendships but won her attention and awards. But by 1983, she was ready to leave behind a thriving modeling career. After one soap opera role, Sela Ward took off for Hollywood to break into movies. Almost immediately, she was sent to audition for a Blake Edwards film called The Man Who Loved Women.
I go into Blake Edwards' trailer. He has me read the scene, stops me halfway through and says, okay, you got the part.
Sela was cast in a small role and told to report to work right away, playing opposite Burt Reynolds.
I mean, Burt Reynolds was huge at the time. Blake Edwards was directing and Julie Andrews was in it. And here I am, barely, put two words together, not bump into furniture.
The film died at the box office, but Sela had already landed a job on a new CBS series.
I did this television show, Emerald Point, right after the Burt Reynolds movie. And I was playing this little femme fatale.
That character on Emerald Point was a real tough Joan Collins kind of character. Bad girl, witchy woman. And I think in one of the scenes she was in a bar doing a very sexy dancing. And it's so funny to see that because I could just see my parents going, ah.
For Sela, playing a bad girl was fun. Even better, she soon fell hard for one of her co-stars.
And my brother on the show was played by Richard Dean Anderson, who I just fell madly in love with.
Before long, Richard and Sela were inseparable, to the detriment of her own career.
Her Southern upbringing and her ethics, her morals, her whole sensibility was oriented to put the man first.
If he had to be in Japan, I was in Japan. If he had to be on location in Italy, I went on location in Italy. And my agent would be calling me up, Sela, are you coming back? What are you doing? I can't get you to work like this. But it didn't matter because I couldn't be more successful than he.
By 1985, Sela realized that marriage to Richard was not in the cards.
We were together for about 3 years. I was crazy about him. Richard is one of those wonderful Peter Pan guys that really, that commitment thing is a hard thing for them.
Meanwhile, Emerald Point had been canceled after the first season, but Sela continued to be cast as the femme fatale or the ice princess in a frustratingly unsuccessful run of feature films.
It was interesting because at the very beginning of my career, Nothing in Common, Rustler's Rhapsody, Hello Again, all these films were supposed to be really big box office hits, touted by the executives at all the studios. But none of them were.
Perhaps the biggest disappointment was the failure of Nothing in Common, a drama in which Sela starred alongside Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason.
They were both so good in it, Tom and Sela, and I thought they were wonderful together. And it was such an amazing cast and a great little storyline, and you never know.
For every role, Sela studied with a drama coach. During Nothing in Common, her coach questioned whether Sela was talented enough to make a difference.
I remember her telling me, I don't really understand how you got this part, She was basically telling me I wasn't very good. This is a theme in my life, isn't it? I could have stopped 15 times in the face of that kind of negativity, and I didn't. I kept going because it's that inner piece of you at the very core that says, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I may not have all the tools yet, but I'm going to do this.
Sela knew she had the goods, but would she ever get to show them? Finally, in 1991, an opportunity came. Television producers Ron Cowan and Daniel Lippman were searching for someone to play the pivotal role of Teddy in their new series, Sisters, about 4 siblings living in the suburbs of Chicago.
They wanted me to come in for the Julianne Phillips role, which was the corporate, career-driven sister. I just couldn't do it anymore.
We had cast Swoosie Kurtz, Patricia Callenber, and Julianne Phillips, and we were going into rehearsal on a Monday, and it was Thursday, and we had no Teddy.
Sela wanted the role, but just as it had in high school, her beauty was working against her.
We knew she was a model. We'd seen her a couple of things. She was gorgeous. This was not what this role was. This was a tough cookie.
But Sela persisted, got the audition, and in a daring move decided to strip away the glamour to show the actress underneath.
She came in. Do you remember that, Ron? She came in?
Absolutely. We were amazed because we had this vision of Sela Ward in our head. And instead, in burst Sela in jeans with a little tank top
No
on.
bra.
No bra. Her hair all chopped off, really short. She was exactly Teddy.
It was very short and sort of tomboyish looking, and they loved that. They loved that for the role. And I'm convinced it's one of the things that helped me get the part. But it's that willingness to risk and that willingness to leave your safety nets behind.
Next on Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, Sela meets Mr. Right, but he has his doubts.
I said, what'd she do? Tell me about her. And she said, she's an actress. And I said, stop right there.
And later, Harrison Ford needs a screen wife, and Sela fits the bill.
I got all choked up and my heart started to pitter-patter, and I knew instantly that was the woman.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portrait continues.
An unsolved mystery.
They just disappeared.
Best friends Tracy and Bill went out for a drive one evening and never returned. An exhaustive search turned up only one clue. Now, investigators fear the worst. Unsolved Mysteries at 8 p.m. tonight, only on Lifetime.
Did you kill your wife and children?
The motion is granted.
When ambition turns blind, it can be deadly.
What if he did it?
Bo Derek, Life in the Balance. At 9 tonight on Lifetime.
When your child has a high fever, you head straight for the children's Motrin. When you're hurting, don't you wish there was a mom's Motrin? There is. Motrin IB. Fast, long-lasting, able to beat tough pain in a single dose. Motrin IB. For moms who don't fool around with pain.
Pure decadence, sheer pleasure. Breyer's smooth and creamy yogurt, 99% fat-free. Tastes naughty, but it's not.
Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you.
You know when you're not feeling like yourself. You're tired all the time. You may feel sad, hopeless, and lose interest in things you once loved. You may feel anxious, can't even sleep. Your daily activities and relationships suffer. You know when you just don't feel right. Now here's something you may not know. These are some symptoms of depression, a serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans. While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of naturally occurring chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Zoloft, a prescription medicine, works to correct this imbalance. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right. Only your doctor can diagnose depression. Zoloft is not for everyone. People taking medicines called MAOI shouldn't take Zoloft. Side effects may include dry mouth, insomnia, sexual side effects, diarrhea, nausea, and sleepiness. Zoloft is not habit-forming. Talk to your doctor about Zoloft, the #1 prescribed brand of its kind. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
What are little girls made of? Sugar. Spice. And everything.
Nice.
The all-wheel drive Subaru Forester. Sport utility top. Car easy.
So, what are you made of?
Now you can get an APR as low as 2.9% on all 2002 Forester models.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name too. Oops. Oops.
Don't let a little oops become a big one. Clip new Tempo dry wipes to your visor. They're 4-ply strong for all of life's little oopses. So, wherever you go, take Tempo. New Tempo dry wipes are versatile enough to handle almost anything. They're more convenient than paper towels and napkins and stronger than tissues, especially when wet. On your visor, ready for anything. Wherever you go, take Tempo.
At 7 all this week, they won TV's top award, the Emmy, and paid the price of stardom.
Oh, I felt awful for having done that.
Emmy Winners Week, all this week on Intimate Portrait. Tomorrow, Time Daily, only on Lifetime. We now return to Lifetime's Intimate Portrait of Sela Ward. As a model making commercials in the 1980s, Mississippi-born Sela Ward discovered that acting was her true love. But a sequence of Ice Princess roles in prominent features led only to disappointment. All that changed dramatically in 1991 when she was cast as the recovering alcoholic artist Teddy on the hit television series Sisters.
It was like this whole new chapter of freedom and risk and exploring. And it was the beginning of the unthawing of the Ice Princess, if you will. Trying to really explore and allow those sides of myself to be there. The key, I found out, was allowing myself to show up. Sela, my humor, my physical little idiosyncrasies or whatever it might be that I could make the character come alive.
We wrote it as an hour-long comedy drama, which was unusual for the time. Most shows were either comedies or dramas, but we blended the two of them together. And Sela was surprisingly adept at comedy.
She just has brilliant timing. She has that dry sensibility, that dry kind of Mary Tyler Moore-ish timing.
There wasn't one scenario you could have given me as an actor that I didn't do on that show. Farcical comedy, drunk, serious, heavy. I felt like there's not one thing you could hand me in a script to do that I would be afraid of.
I think Sela, in a way, is a character actress. She does not play herself. Sela as Teddy is not Sela Ward as Sela Ward. And that's, I think, a very special gift to be able to look like Sela and also be a character actress.
Sela was putting her career first, but she wasn't too busy to accept when a friend urged her to go on a blind date in 1991. The young man in question was Howard Sherman, a venture capitalist, not an actor.
I got a call one day from a mutual friend of mine and Sela's who said, I want you to meet my girlfriend. And I said, great. I was mid-30s and was interested in settling down. And she said, I said, what's she do? Tell me about her. And she said, she's an actress. And I said, stop right there, because that's just, I grew up in Los Angeles. That's just a disaster waiting to happen.
And I said, but she's not really a typical actress. You have to understand, she is so unique. She's such a beautiful human being inside and out that you just got to give it a chance.
Despite Howard's misgivings about dating actresses, he decided to meet Sela anyway.
And I met this guy, and I went, wow, what an interesting man. A man who really listens, attentive, present.
We talked for hours at a time, and Sela was, if Sela wasn't an actress, she would be a CEO of a company.
Sela and Howard struck up a serious relationship. When Sisters was on summer hiatus during 1991, they decided to take a romantic trip to Europe.
We're over in Italy, and every night we would go out to dinner and have a couple bottles of red wine. And every night, after the couple bottles of wine, Sela would turn to me at dinner and say, I have to marry you. This is just, we have to get married, because you are exactly what I've been looking for my whole life. And then, of course, she would wake up in the morning and go, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what I said last night, but we don't know each other well enough.
The problem for Howard wasn't how well he and Sela knew each other. His concern was Sela's profession.
And I said, you I am madly in love with. But when you marry somebody in the entertainment business, when you marry a beautiful actress, you marry a business. You marry being on location. You marry having to endure love scenes. You wind up marrying a situation where you are largely invisible, where people come up to you and say, are you in the business? Which, my master's degree from Harvard, I start businesses, I sell them. I think I'm in a business, but suddenly I'm not in the business, so, you know.
By Christmas of 1991, Sela had made up her mind about Howard.
And we were in New York, and I sort of let him know that by New Year's that I really would like to be engaged. And he said, let's go get a cappuccino. I ducked into this little cafe on Madison. And then all of a sudden he puts this little box in front of me, a little wrapped box.
And I said, I'm giving you this present because I love you.
I'm thinking, oh, how sweet is this? I'm getting like an early Christmas present. I'm going, oh, tiny box. Love those. Open it up, and it's a little band with minuscule little diamonds around it, a gold band.
I put the second box on the table, and I said, and I'm giving you this because I'm just absolutely crazy about you.
Oh, this is beautiful. Put it on my right hand. Then he puts another box.
I put the third box on the table, and I say, and I'm giving you this because I want to marry you. And I'm met with silence.
I dig in my purse, and I pull out a wrapped gift for him and put it down. I'll never forget the look on his face.
I didn't take the box. I said, I don't think you understand what's going on here. I just proposed to you. We are not exchanging presents.
I said, open it. And it was a watch that I'd been carrying around with me with the word yes engraved on the back. For that one moment when he had that deadline to propose to me,
I said, Sela, it's a watch. Thank you. I have a watch. I don't need a watch. I think I need a check. And she said, would you turn the watch over? And I turned the watch over, and on the back of the watch was engraved, yes, my love forever, Sela.
And I upstaged my husband's proposal.
Months later, Howard and Sela became husband and wife at a romantic ceremony at the house of one of Sela's best friends.
From the house to the reflecting pond is about 1,000 feet long, so she had a real long way to walk down, and it looked like she was a goddess just floating down toward this pond.
I don't know how I ever found him, but thank you, Carrie, and thank you, God, because he is... I could just start crying. He is so awesome. He is my best friend, and he is the greatest partner and the most loving, giving man I've ever met.
The stability and security that came with marriage gave Sela the courage to really stretch her wings professionally.
It was really after I got married where I had a warm, safe haven, and I felt safe enough, I guess, for the Ice Princess to start melting. And my career changed at that point.
On Sisters, her role was growing more challenging as her skills increased. By the time George Clooney joined the cast, Sela was really hitting her stride.
Her daughter had gotten raped, and she became a vigilante. She got a gun, and she was going to kill the kid who raped her daughter, and she didn't care. And that was, that was very extreme.
When I first discovered her, for a second I thought she was sleeping, the way her right arm was under her head and the way she was lying so still. But then I saw the blood wetting the back of her head and the marks on her arms and legs and the way her clothes had been torn off like some animal had attacked her.
Recognition for her acting mounted, and the award nominations rolled in. And 10 years after her first film role, Sela won a Best Actress Emmy.
I'll never forget that feeling standing up there accepting my first award for acting. It was a terrific validation.
I'm speechless, that's for sure. The words of my gifted teacher, Sean Nelson, come to me in this moment. He always says, Sela, work hard and focus, and the rewards will pay off. It's so nice to know that in life that's really true.
Next on Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, Sela confronts the ultimate challenge, motherhood.
It was the scariest thing I ever did. I mean, it truly was.
And later, she almost misses a golden opportunity.
My agent said to me, Sela, if you don't want to do this, you're on drugs. This is an awesome part.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portrait continues.
You're watching Lifetime, television for women. Lifetime Sunday, a night of gripping original dramas. At 8 on Strong Medicine, hospital politics threatens one couple's dream to have a child.
We're treading on ethically shaky ground here, Doctor.
Then at 9 on The Division, a crisis draws Kate to her daughter's side.
We've had a complication.
And at 10 on Any Day Now, Renee vows to help a man who can't help himself.
Someone has to take responsibility for him.
3 powerful original dramas, one place to be. Lifetime Sunday, starting at 8 p.m. Sunday, only on Lifetime.
This scene was filmed using an extraordinary lip color, Max Factor's Lipfinity, a new long-lasting system with permatone. First paint, then polish. While most lipsticks melt away, Lipfinity is semi-permanent. It lasts and lasts through almost anything.
After 8 hours of filming, I can vouch for that.
New Lipfinity from Max Factor, the makeup of makeup artists.
Here's our jingle for goldfish, we wrote a song for goldfish, a wholesome snack that smiles back until you bite their heads off. Now see the fishes swimming, oh look, the pretzel's winning. Didn't that make you feel good about goldfish? You know they're made with real cheese, these baked not fried fishies. A snack that smiles back, goldfish. And for taste buds that are braver, we blasted them with flavor. Try flavor blasted goldfish.
Oh, the things we endure for beauty. Being lathered in hot molten metal. Buffed until raw. Inspected over 100 times. But that's what it takes to be a Delta faucet. Every Delta is carefully crafted and meticulously refined to be beautiful inside and out. Isn't it worth it? Delta. Beautifully engineered.
Before I went to support kids, my ex-husband hadn't paid child support in over 6 years. I wasted so much time and so much energy pursuing the collection of my child support. Those are years that are just gone.
Support Kids has collected over $60 million in past due child support. If you have a court order for child support and you're not receiving welfare, call 1-800-801-KIDS and get the support you deserve.
The Fall Super Shoe Sale is going on now at JCPenney. Kick off the season today with great savings on all the best looks for fall. Sexy boots, pretty heels, soft leather loafers. So many styles, so little time. Don't miss your chance to fall in love. It's all inside the Super Shoe Sale at JCPenney.
This is my report. What is biotechnology? For centuries, farmers select the best seeds to help improve their crops.
Today, biotechnology is helping farmers spray less and still keep pests away. And they're able to grow more food.
To be a hungry world. So more kids everywhere, everywhere grow up big and strong.
Biotechnology, making a difference for people and for our world.
Coming up next, Lifetime brings you brand new stories and updates on Unsolved Mysteries. Then at 9, the Lifetime premiere of Life in the Balance is followed by The Golden Girls.
We now return to Lifetime's intimate portrait, Sela Ward. In 1993, Sela Ward was a veteran of 3 starring seasons on the NBC television series Sisters. She heard that Arnold Kopelson, producer of the film The Fugitive, was searching for someone to play Harrison Ford's wife.
What happened was we needed not only extraordinary beauty, but warmth, sensitivity, and we needed someone who could act. And we must have seen at least 100 women.
They called up and said, yeah, have her come on over. So I just walked in.
And I got all choked up and my heart started to pitter-patter, and I knew instantly that was the woman. And I knew it was a very small role, but very pivotal, because her presence is there throughout the entire movie. And we open on Helen, over titles, being actually murdered by the one-armed man.
You had to care about the possibility and see the possibility of their relationship and their future to really feel his loss of his wife.
The Fugitive was a huge hit. With this feature film success now under her belt, Sela turned her attention to her personal life. She and Howard decided to start a family. But there was one condition. The pregnancy would have to be arranged around her work schedule on Sisters.
You start with the calendar, you start with the wrap date, start date, and Sela turns to me at one point and says, it'll work out perfect if we conceive on August 20th, because then I'll be 7 months pregnant when we wrap, and I'll still have 6 weeks to get back into shape. And the irony of all ironies is that this was for our son, and doctors say he was conceived on August 28th.
Baby Austin Ward Sherman was born on May 13, 1994, just after Sisters wrapped for the season, and Sela awoke to the joys and responsibilities of motherhood.
It was the scariest thing I ever did. I mean, it truly was. And that enormous sense of responsibility and life-changing as you know it, but isn't that the point? And, you know, it was very hard for me. Terrifying. Terrifying. And I wouldn't take anything in the world for it.
The demands of motherhood didn't keep Sela away from pursuing acting roles outside of Sisters. The following year, she was offered the role of the ambitious but doomed newscaster Jessica Savage in the Lifetime TV movie Almost Golden. She nearly turned it down.
To try to portray someone who's actually lived and was so well known is a daunting thing. I had never done that before. And finally, I had a conversation with myself and said, you know, you can never be that person. All you can hope to do is capture the essence of Jessica Savage the best that you can. That was huge for me. It was the first time I carried something by myself, a piece by myself. And it was the first time I started really trusting my own instincts.
It was an enormous role, and her astonishing performance brought her SAG and Emmy nominations and a Cable Ace Award as Best Actress. As Sisters reached the conclusion of its 6th and final year, Sela was honored with nominations for both SAG and Golden Globe Awards. With the Emmy in tow, she knew her talent was no longer in doubt. Though she was sad that Sisters was over, she was happy to say goodbye to the 14-hour workdays a series requires.
I swore I would never do another hour show because at the end of the 6 years, I had this, 1.5-year-old little boy that I wasn't seeing. I didn't, I'd be at work before he woke up and I'd come home and he was asleep and it was just killing me. I mean, really killing me.
Sela was glad to have some time to be with her family, which now included daughter Annabella Ray Sherman.
I can't imagine my life without those kids. I can't imagine. It's so rich because of them.
To spend time with her children, Sela worked more sporadically, appearing in films such as the feature My Fellow Americans and the cable TV film Rescuers, about non-Jews who had saved Jews during World War II. That film was directed by Peter Bogdanovich.
It was a joy to work with her. Whatever you'd throw at her, she'd know how to do it. And we did some scenes without a cut. The whole scene played in one. She liked that. It's always a mark of a good actor.
For Sela, acting in this film had special meaning.
I loved working with Peter Bogdanovich on The Rescuers. It was meaningful to me because my husband is Jewish. My husband's grandfather was killed by the Nazis, and it was a very meaningful piece for me.
Sela's next project was inspired by an event that had taken place a few years before. At an audition, her looks had become an issue in a way she'd never anticipated.
And the comment was, what we really want is from the director Sela 10 years ago. And this is when I had my midlife crisis.
Entertainment industry ageism is pervasive, as top producers and directors admit.
I took Sela at 40. I think she was 40 when she did The Fugitive. And I would trade her for 2 20s anytime. But the kids do want to see young actors. And that's a problem, because there aren't that many roles for women over 40.
For a woman of 40 to feel that it's over in terms of decent roles is pretty awful comment on our society.
I thought, this is just not Hollywood. This is so pervasive, this issue of age and shame about age, and not embracing and owning where we are on the timeline. I want to have to do something about this.
Once again, Sela took the rejection as motivation to fight back. She decided to tackle the controversial subject of age stereotypes by creating and co-producing a documentary, The Changing Face of Beauty.
And sure, most of us want to be considered attractive, but by what standards? Who sets these rules, and why are we following them? It was a very cathartic thing for me to do. It scratched the surface of what I really wanted to explore, which was this pervasive obsession with youth and age and wisdom not being honored and revered in our culture.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, she's a little too old. Definitely. And she's probably only like, 27, 28.
And what a shame that is.
Next, sparks fly on the hit series Once and Again when Sela plays a woman over 40 with maximum sex appeal.
She's a stunning woman. Oh my God, if I can get mixed up in this equation, then I'd be pretty well off.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portrait continues.
Intimate Portrait is sponsored by the brand new Pantene Pro V for healthy hair you love.
Want to smooth away your frizz? Get Pantene Smooth and Sleek Conditioner. Smooth your hair with Pantene Moisturizing Pro V formula. In just 10 days, it makes your hair up to 65% smoother and healthier. So healthy, you'll love your hair. Smooth Care Collection from Pantene Pro V.
Presenting the all-new Mercury Mountaineer with a brilliant third-row seat.
Fold it down, and it disappears, yielding a cavernous amount of cargo space. Raise it, and 7 adults can sit comfortably for the most third-row leg and headroom in its class. The Mercury Mountaineer. Ingenuity builds cities. Now, it brings you an SUV. Mountaineer with standard third-row seats starts under $30,000. Test drive one at your local Mercury dealer today.
More facts of protection from Always. We face up to 160 different choices in the store. Wrong pad, wrong protection. Always make sure you get what's right for you. Start with your absorbency needs. Check the colored bands. Regular is the lightest. Super means more. Overnight, the most. Choose regular, super, or overnight. You'll get what's right for you. And that's always the best protection. Always expect more. Lysol presents Facts of Life. Fact, worse than getting into hot water is getting into cold water. Fact, some things are easier to get into than get out of. Fact, Lysol toilet bowl cleaner is unbeatable because it removes tough stains and nothing kills more germs. Fact, the quest for a super bowl begins at home. Life demands Lysol. That's a fact.
It's the time of the season.
The fall sale is going on now. Fall in love with all the best looks for the season. Rich leathers, cozy knit sweaters, kicky plaids. But don't wait. With savings of 25 to 50%, now is the time to fall in love over and over again. It's all inside. Don't miss the fall sale at JCPenney.
Lifetime television for women.
Charles Vickery thrilled us with his dramatic paintings for more than half a century. Seascapes with pounding surf that seems to resonate in your chest. Majestic clippers that convince you that you're rising and falling with each wave. Sunny duneland shores that transport you to a favorite summertime spot. And breathtaking landscapes inspired by our own area. With nearly 100 Vickery scenes to choose from, the hard part isn't finding one you like, it's finding the one you like best. Visit the Clipper Ship Gallery today.
Yo, check this out, dog. Comedy Central's Laugh Riot stand-up competition is heating up, and now you can witness the battle live. Come see today's hottest young comics compete for fame and fortune in the semifinal rounds.
So if y'all laugh, it's a technicality.
Comedy Central's Laugh Riots. Real, live comedy.
Bob Watson Chevrolet is proud to bring you the Comedy Central Laugh Riots Chicago semifinals. Come on out to Zanies on Wells September 25th for all the laughs.
An unsolved mystery.
They just disappeared.
Best friends Tracy and Bill went out for a drive one evening and never returned. An exhaustive search turned up only one clue. Now, investigators fear the worst. Unsolved mysteries coming up next, only on Lifetime.
We now return to Lifetime's intimate portrait of Sela Ward. As Teddy on the TV series Sisters, the former beauty queen won the respect she'd been seeking as an actress. When the series ended in 1996, Sela was 40, an age at which leading roles often become scarce for women. In spite of this, she swore she'd never do another series because the long hours kept her away from her family. Then, in 1999, she got a script for a new TV series called Once and Again.
She was sitting in the bathtub having read the script, and I came in, and she had that look on her face, and she said, "This woman is me. I am this woman."
From the first page, I was just hooked. I said, I am this woman, I know this woman, I understand this woman. Not that the character of Lily is Sela, but I so understood her voice and knew that I had to do it.
As Lily Manning, Sela would play a divorced mother raising 2 daughters who rediscovers her sexuality and finds love.
I lost weight.
Oh, did you see Jake today?
Oh, shut up. God, I've got 2 kids. Oh. How can I take my clothes off?
There was an interesting challenge, actually, with this part, because as written, Lily was the littlest bit immature, that there was something still girlish about her, childlike about her, that was both charming and occasionally off-putting, and in fact, a problem in her life. And we needed an actress who was willing to go to that place and have a deficit in her character in some way. She came in and helped Billy Campbell audition, and it was quite a wonderful moment.
Oh, it was the moment in which we actually knew we had a television show.
Yeah. They hit it off at a very basic level. It was instantaneous.
She's a stunning woman. And then, of course, with her intelligence and her ability with the material, and I just was, you know, I thought, oh my God, if I can get mixed up in this equation, then I'd be pretty well off.
I mean, if I'm allowed to talk about their beauty for a second and their sensuality, I mean, somebody smart up there in the land of the network, in the land of those producers, said, okay, let's take these people that we can all lust after and put them together, and it's damn good chemistry.
We have so much in common because he's a Southerner. He's from Virginia. So we speak the same Southern language, and most of the time we just laugh.
She's a very funny person in general, and she appreciates humor in others.
We did a scene the very beginning of this year that was very farcical, where they're about to be caught by the children. He slept over inadvertently, and they're running from room to room.
I didn't do anything. It was
I'm not going to be in trouble. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I didn't... Mom?
Excuse me?
What are you guys doing here?
And there are things she does physically with her body, the way she turns, the way she holds herself, that I'm not sure you can be taught.
There's a quality in Sela, you know, she's very gentle and kind, but then you give her the text, and her fire kind of unleashes and comes out.
Her performance was extraordinarily brave. This remarkable willingness to go to extremes and yet somehow maintain her dignity. It's such a remarkable thing to see in an actor.
Yes, I need an ambulance, please. Somebody here has either had a stroke or a heart attack or something. Yes, that's the address. Thank you. Daddy? Daddy, it's okay. They're on their way. Can you hear me? Daddy, can you hear me?
In 2001, after 2 seasons on the critically esteemed show, Sela was honored by her second Best Actress Emmy.
When Sela wins these awards, my eyes just fill up with like a gallon of water. And people are like reaching over going, congratulations, Karen. I can't even talk.
At the pinnacle of her career, Sela knows she couldn't have done it alone.
Howard is my rock. I could not do the show if I didn't have such an incredible partner, because he picks up the slack for me. And, you know, fortunately, he's in a position to be able to do that. It's his company. But if I have to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, he's up with the kids at night.
We were actually at dinner, and kiddingly, she picked up a knife, and she said, you better not be like one of those men who says, honey, let's have a family, and then the minute the family comes, you say, do something with the kid, he's crying. You better be in for 50%. The reality is when you're married to a woman or an actress on a 1-hour show, as the spouse, you're probably in for 70% or 75%, just because many, many days she's out the door at 6 o'clock in the morning before the kids get up, and home at 8:30 after the kids go to sleep.
Though she lives in Hollywood, Sela has never lost touch with her Mississippi roots. She and Howard have bought a second home there near her family.
You know, the South is like a country within a country. All the sense memories are very particular. The foods, the heat, the smells, the honeysuckle, the cicadas.
She's really a country girl at heart. She likes to get outdoors, and she likes to ride horses, and she fishes with me sometimes.
It's my little slice of heaven and a very grounding place for me.
Spending time in Mississippi has meant a chance to heal old wounds. She has become reacquainted with a sorority sister who'd made her beauty a target of ridicule.
And I'm sitting in front of this incredibly wonderful, interesting, artistic, fabulous woman that I'm trying so hard not to like, because she was so mean to me when I was 15. And I had to say, you know, you were so cruel to me. I never got over it. She said, Sela, you know what? It was all because I was just jealous of you.
So I felt so bad. I sent her roses that said something like, you're beautiful and I know it. And it was the colors of the sorority.
It was a wonderful life lesson to learn. Something as seemingly small as a friendship is a real growth opportunity.
Surrounded by family and friends, Sela finds her joy in Mississippi would be complete but for one thing: her mother's ailing health.
My mother should have been dead 9 times already. She's had ovarian cancer, she's had a heart attack, 4 angioplasties, osteoporosis, an aneurysm in the aorta operation. I mean, she's been through, and this woman is still kicking. She's got an iron will, and it's that piece of her that I have that's just so incredibly determined and unthwarted, and it's a great gift to have.
Sela's determination has helped get a very special arts project off the ground in Meridian.
Sela knows the value of home, of sinking one's roots deep into your hometown. The Marks Opera House Arts Project, Sela was a key component in the development.
There's this fabulous opera house built in 1890 that Gershwin played at, and Sarah Bernhardt, and all these people. So we're trying to get that restored, and it is going to be made into a performing arts center.
She desperately wants the children of this community to have the opportunity she's had with the arts to enrich their lives.
She could have established what she's done and just said, well, I don't need y'all anymore, and she didn't. She has not turned her back on Meridian or Mississippi.
Sela's love of children inspired another project in her hometown, one that took her husband by surprise.
She calls me on the cell phone and she says, honey, we have to adopt these 2 little kids. They don't have any place to go. Their father was prostituting their 11-year-old sister. They're 7 and 8. If we could get them now, we could turn them into productive members of society.
These 2 kids just really pulled on my heartstrings in a way that I'd never experienced. And I would pass by a Meridian abandoned children's home that the Masons used to run for years, and there it is.
Instead of adopting the 2 kids, Sela and Howard are building Hope for Children, a home for abused and abandoned children, with funding they've raised in part from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You know, is creating a safe place for these kids that couldn't do it themselves.
I don't know why this moves me so much, but I can't even, the day that this facility opens and kids are running around will be one of the happiest days of my life.
Sela, who grew up wondering if she would ever be accepted for herself, is now one of Meridian's favorite daughters.
The main thoroughfare through Meridian is named after her, Sela Ward Parkway.
Imagine your home with a few less walls.
Sela's fame has brought many new options, including a contract as Sprint spokesperson, and the opportunity to call the shots behind the camera as well. A television film, Catch a Falling Star, was the first she produced.
Sela made a production deal with CBS where she was going to do 3 TV movies. When she finally decides to get out of the acting game, I think she will do some producing. She'll be great at it.
I think she's just paving the way, too, for other women. You know, to say, as we said before, look, I'm 40, I'm over 40, and my career is thriving.
Friends say that Sela has come to terms with the struggles of a lifetime in front of the camera.
It could look like a lot of the things that she has done in her life were very easy, but she earned them. I really do believe she earned them.
She thinks hard, she's very deep, and she makes choices that are based on her heart. But I think that her heart and her head are pretty well connected, and she lives very passionately.
She really has it all. She's got this great career and family and friends. What else? I mean, when you, at the end of your life, isn't that what you really want more than anything?
She represents the female species very well. You know, she makes me proud to be a woman. I'm having more fun. It's an incredible high for me. It's happiness that I never could imagine.
Entertainment Weekly has named Sela one of the 100 most creative people in entertainment. Sela told the magazine that one of her biggest influences was the Avengers' Emma Peel, because she was smart, sexy, and had great style. Sounds a lot like Sela, wouldn't you say? For Intimate Portrait, I'm Meredith Vieira.
Tomorrow night, one of TV's toughest cops follows her heart.
I didn't care what the world thought.
Pushes buttons, crosses the line, and wears the pants.
And I thought I was going to do murder for the first time in my life.
This time, Tyne Daly shows her battle scars.
The breakup of that partnership is the most difficult for me to deal with still.
upfront, outspoken. Lifetime's Intimate Portrait. Every weeknight at 7 on Lifetime. Tomorrow, Time Daily.
And this is an intimate portrait of Sela Ward. In the hit series Once and Again, she's the lucky lady who stars opposite heartthrob Billy Campbell. But though this Southern Belle's career got off to a slow start, Sela kept at it, and her patience has been rewarded. And for those of you who worry about aging, take heart. In an era of teenage starlets, Sela's led the charge to redefine what Hollywood calls sexy in a woman. Come watch how this wife, mom, and late bloomer got to the front of the pack. Sela Ward.
At the age of 44, actress Sela Ward is at the top of her game. Her famous face graces magazine covers and television commercials, and she's never looked more gorgeous.
Sela has an incredible body of work, and she just seems to get better and better. And more beautiful, which is just so unfair.
For Sela, beauty has been a double-edged sword, creating opportunities yet also holding her back.
Sela's cursed with being beautiful. And when you're that beautiful, they can't believe you could possibly be funny or really even act.
All her life, Sela has been fighting to prove she was more than just a pretty face.
I was just stubborn as a mule. I was going to prove them all wrong because I knew the core that I could do this.
After 2 decades in the spotlight, Sela's shown us all she's won this fight.
And look at her now. I mean, there's nothing that Sela can't do.
Sela's story begins in the lush, fertile lands of eastern Mississippi. She was born in Meridian, a languid town of 50,000 people, on July 11, 1956. Her father is a stubbornly independent man who taught his children to stick to their guns.
My dad had his own electrical engineering firm. He had a sign in his office that said, "Be reasonable, do it my way." The thing I love about him is he doesn't care what anybody thinks, and we women have this disease. It really mattered what everybody thought, particularly in the South.
For Sela's mother, Annie Kate Ward, gentility is important, but so is perseverance, a trait she passed on to Sela.
She's just the epitome of a Southern belle. Storybook little romance in college, and he was wonderful. He went on to play with the Dolphins, and it was just a magical time for me.
In 1977, Sela graduated with a double major in art and advertising and went off to New York planning to go into advertising. She did, but not in the way she expected.
Some friends said to me, "You should model," so I went and met Wilhelmina, and the very first job I did was a Maybelline mascara commercial.
They loved her look and her eyes, so they sent her off to voice classes to be able to do that without having an accent.
For Maybelline. I had this high little Southern kind of voice, you know, and I had gone to do a commercial for Ultra Bright toothpaste. And the woman who was there, the producer, said to me, "You know what, honey, you could probably be a really good little actress, but your voice is such a problem." I worked so hard on my voice for years, I can't even tell you.
Modeling led to acting, and it was there that Sela discovered her true love.
I took acting classes to help me with television commercial auditions, and I just fell in love with it. I felt like I was flying, and I ended up getting an agent, did 2 days on a soap opera, and went, you know, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to Los Angeles. So I just packed my bags after 5 years of the modeling thing and moved to LA and checked into the Beverly Hilton Hotel, and okay, I'm here.
Next on Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, Sela falls hard for a co-star and stalls her own career.
If he had to be in Japan, I was in Japan. If he had to be on location in Italy, I went on location in Italy.
Later, Sela reinvents herself and wins a breakthrough role.
We were amazed because we had this vision of Sela Ward in our head. And instead, in bursts Sela in jeans with a little tank top
No
on.
bra.
No bra.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portrait continues. You're watching Lifetime, television for women.
A little high and soft like this, and I'd probably say, "What are y'all doing? Are you going to go over there?"
In high school, Sela joined a sorority, the Dusties, in an effort to fit in. One tormentor was her sorority sister, Sally Holst.
I was a member, and she was being ratted in Hell Week. That's what they called it, Hell Week. And I made Sela wear a sign that said, "I'm beautiful and I know it." And I did not know that. I mean, I can't believe I did that.
Those rejections for me were very powerful, very painful, and were like little mini deaths. I think that a lot of my discomfiture with women really had to do with that time period of my life, because the girls could be so cruel, and they were.
The resilience Sela learned from these early traumas would come in handy later.
You learn a certain amount of strength that is invaluable later in life. I mean, I certainly couldn't be in the entertainment industry with a tremendous amount of rejection and constant proving of oneself if I wasn't able to take that and flip it into something positive for me in terms of a growth experience.
Things started to change when Sela enrolled at the University of Alabama in 1973. She was a cheerleader for the Crimson Tide, where beauty was an asset.
When Sela attended the University of Alabama, it was the last few years of Bear Bryant's career, and the University of Alabama in the South was like the premier football team. They were nationally ranked almost every year.
Alabama football was like religion. It was bigger than life, and it was very exciting, and it was on a very big scale, and ABC was always televising our national games.
The high school hazings were forgotten when Sela was crowned Alabama's homecoming queen.
George Wallace crowned me. A lot of history there.
Sela's steady date was a college football star, Bob Baumhauer.
We had this sort of...
Next on Lifetime's Intimate Portrait. She's an award-winning actress and star of the acclaimed series Once and Again. But raven-haired beauty Sela Ward has also been ostracized because of her looks.
Those rejections for me were very powerful, very painful, and were like little mini deaths.
Sela suffered through a decade's worth of ice princess roles in films that failed.
All these films were supposed to be really big box office hits, you know, touted by the executives at all the studios. But none of them were.
Then she stripped away the glamour to land her breakthrough role in the TV series Sisters.
I turned 30, cut my hair off, sort of tomboyish, and I'm convinced it's one of the things that helped me get the part.
Sela just absolutely reinvented herself, which I think she has done throughout her career.
Her performance led to her first Emmy.
I'm speechless, that's for sure.
And to choice film and television parts. But when she hit 40, her looks became an issue in a different way.
For a woman of 40 to, feel that it's over in terms of decent roles is pretty awful comment on our society.
Happily, it's all come together for Sela. Now both her beauty and talent are clearly on view.
I think she's a little bit of a genius. When she's acting, you just see everything pass through her face. You never don't want to watch her.
Now, from homecoming queen to Hollywood dream, this is Lifetime's intimate portrait of Sela Ward. Lifetime's Intimate Portrait, hosted by Meredith Vieira.
I'm Meredith Vieira.
Very strong values and a tremendous amount of class. She looked in her younger days just like Ava Gardner. I mean, extraordinarily beautiful.
The Wards had 4 children.
Sela's the oldest child, and my other sister Jenna is about a year and a half younger than her.
Then there's Barry and Brock. So there's 2 girls, 2 boys. Don't know how my mother did 4 children in 5-6 years, but she managed to have all of us a year to a year and a half apart.
My siblings and I, we've all been like extremely close. I mean, we're in each other's blood veins. I mean, it's really a little too much. We're all very, very connected at the hip.
Sela's talents began to appear at an early age.
She was born with a grace of walking. She was just different from the other girls. She also inherited the ability to draw. She was an artist. She only made 1 oil painting, and then she went to watercolors.
She was a model child. She never really got into trouble, and she always seemed to excel at everything she did. Everything just came naturally to her. She got all the honors you can get in school.
I have to tell you, she was a vision then. I mean, she really was.
In junior high, Sela's beauty and accomplishments started rubbing other girls the wrong way.
I tried out for cheerleader, and I got cheerleader, and I got Art Student of the Month award, and I got the DAR Good Citizenship Award, all like within 1 year, you know, in one time frame. And I remember my best friend of my entire elementary school years, all of a sudden, was no longer my friend.
The other girls were jealous and turned their backs on her. For Sela, the rejection was traumatic.
It was just a sad time for me because there were so many losses for me. And it was always related to something good that had happened.
She lost almost all her girlfriends and became shy and withdrawn. Her voice became a whisper.
I think I sort of